I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to look at the B3 Omega brass release aid, and we're at Wallaroo, and behind me you'll see the town hall, built in 1918. Now the front poles out the front, you'll kind of see the names of the people who died in the various wars which we fought, World War I, World War II, and that's very common in Australia for the local towns, and this is a small town, to put the names of lost soldiers on monuments like this. It's very common, not so much in the big cities, but in the small country towns, very common to do it. And it's such a beautiful building. Today this building is the town hall for the local Wallaroo community. Now the Omega 3 release aid sells retail for about $380. It's brass, so with brass it can tarnish, and the other side of it is anodized alloy. Now B3, you're gonna, what a weird name. I was like, what is the deal with that name? And I still why didn't the guy use his name? Or like, I wonder if his name's Scott and he can't use the name Scott. So where did the B3 come from? Right, so this is the Omega. Now with brass, it's often will tarnish on this side, so just bear that in mind. The brass will add more weight to the release aid. Now the concept of adding more weight is when you release the release aid, it'll give you more force backwards. Now you can see the size of the release aid is quite large in my hand, so very suited for larger hands. This release aid reminds me of the Scott, is it the Scott Sigma? So to cock the release aid, you press that button, that there cocks it, so now it's loaded. To release it, you press that button here. This screw here adjusts the travel. This screw here adjusts the tension. Screwing the screw in, there's no locking screw on the side. Screwing the screw in increases the tension, taking the pressure off the spring, decreases the tension, so makes it softer to trigger. So now with this here, you can change the angle of the thumb. You can move the peg in or out, or change the angle on this peg here through the Allen key, which is inside there. So it's very adjustable. Now some people like the round thing, the round hole, put your thumb through, so you can kind of just, it sits on your finger and you can kind of spin it. Now, there's two systems of closing the jaws. One where you press the button and the jaws close. The B3 and the Scott, it doesn't work that way. Carter has half working one way and half working the other. So that's the way you close it. To fire the shot, this is very sensitive, and I shot the Versa last time. You can hear the click when you shoot it. Feels like a nice release aid to me. So that's the B3, $380 odd Australian. You may see the price come down now that President Biden is in, because the American dollar is taking a huge hit against the Australian dollar, which just means the world thinks that the American economy is not as strong under Biden as under Trump. So archery gear as a result drops in prices in Australia. So that's a good thing, because archery gear is going to become cheaper. So I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. That's the Omega from B3 Archery. Quality product, American built in Kentucky. So it doesn't come out of China. American made by Americans. So high quality. And B3, there's the town bell. It's 4 o'clock. The B3 company, I think, is either the grandson or the son of the people who used to own Scott. So love the town bell. Thanks for watching and enjoy your archery. And if you get a chance, try out the Omega at your local archery shop. Thanks for watching. So let's have a shot with the Omega. Now this is factory set, straight from the factory. That's your travel, this is your tension. Moving the screw out decreases the tension on the spring and makes it softer. But we're just going to try it. We're going to just try it straight out of the packet to see how this feels. Now the release aid in my hand feels big, so if you've got bigger hands, you're probably going to find this comfortable. For me, it feels a bigger release aid, not as big as probably some of the large release aids on the market, but it feels like stand is small. So if you get a large in a stand, that's more like a medium in a normal. This is kind of a cross in size of it on a true bull between a medium and a large. So it's kind of a mixed. Now I'm going to say the position on the peg was actually quite nice. I liked it. I'm going to feel like I could make the trigger softer. I didn't mind the travel. I thought the travel was quite good. I found the loading a little bit complex because you can't activate it like there. You've actually got to close the jaw first, then you've got to move your hand down, then close it. That's a little bit complex, I think. Now I don't mind the size of the release in my hand. It feels comfortable. I'm still not liking the loading. The tension, I'm going to wind the tension off a bit to see if it feels okay. So to adjust the tension, there's no locking screws on here. There's locking screws on the true ball thumb release aids. There's none on this one, so I'm just going to wind this one out. Now this is not adjusting the travel. When you adjust the travel, which is that screw, make sure you test it before you shoot it so you don't punch yourself. I'm just going to wind this off about, I don't know, let's wind it off half a turn. So Allen key, it's quite a oh, that's interesting. See, now it cocks. So I'm just going to wind this off a bit more. So now I can cock it, and I'm liking this a lot more already. So now I can cock it, and the cocking's easier, and now it shoots. Liking this a lot. Isn't it? Like, it just doesn't even make sense to me. I'm like, it's too hard to load. I press this button, it doesn't load. Now it's like, oh, it's easy. Let's just test it on the bow to make sure I've got this right. Seems pretty good to me. So I put it on the D loop and I pulled against it hard to make sure I wasn't wrong with that. But the release aid now feels like it should. So it loads there, so you cock it, now you put the close across, and it's just works and this feels so much better already. So much better. This is one of the problems of like testing a release aid in a shop. If you just got this release aid out the packet and tested it, you probably wouldn't have liked it. Where if you made that like half a turn adjustment, it's a different release aid. And this is a quality release aid, which now feels it now loads easy and it feels good. Now when you pull back, make sure you pull away from your mouth. Oh yes. So to activate this, like, it requires a little bit, I don't know if you can see how much tension I've got there. Like, it's a little bit of movement. It feels safe to me. It's got a little bit of movement, but it's light. It loads easy. I'm now a fan. Yes, I'm now a fan. It's amazing what a little difference it makes in these release aids. You know, I've been looking at buying a thumb release aid for some time, and I've tried out, you know, these reviews. I've tried out the Carters, the Easy. I've tried the, you know, the Blade. The Blade's an amazing release aid from Trueball. And I don't know what it is about this reminds me, with the loop, reminds me of the backspin Scott release aid, back tension that I used for a number of years. And one of my staff just returned to me today and said, here, this is a release aid you lent me. And it's like, I really enjoyed that release aid. I shot it for a couple of years. It feels nice. Now, how does this compare to, you know, the Carter Easy, which I just tried? Well, the Carter Easy, you couldn't adjust stuff from memory. This has got the adjustments. I do like the whole thing, so you can spin on your fingers when you're bored. A little thing, but you know, there's little things that make things different. I kind of wonder about the other B3 thumb releases now, because this just feels so comfortable. Now, the other release that obviously like this is the Scott Sigma. Now, at the moment, Scott is having problems making release aids. So I rang Scott the other day, this week actually, and I said, how's the production going? Like, what's the problem? Because you don't have any Scott release aids in stock. And they said, we've got a problem with the anodizing. So we can't, there's only a couple of people in the New York area who do anodizing, and apparently there's problems with COVID. These are made in Kentucky. They obviously don't have the same problems that Scott have with the anodizing. This feels nice. Now, the Scott Sigma is an alloy release aid. This is half brush, half alloy. Feels nice. I like the weight. It's not too heavy, not too light. Just right. It feels. I mean, I had one of my customers come in who I've known since I was 13, and his son works in my store, and he came in, he wanted a thumb release aid because he wanted to go back to punching. He wanted to go back to having some target panic issues. So he was like, which one should I get? And he brought a Blade. The Blade is a very, very popular release aid. It feels comfortable in the hand. It does. It feels comfortable. My problem is that costs $500 Australian. I think the price on this is going to be around the 300. I feel a lot better at the 300 price point. And honestly, I can't feel the difference in the shot. The thumb is comfortable. The release is comfortable in my hand. It's got a little bit of movement there, which I can reduce in the travel, but I like a little bit of movement. I feel I could probably reduce that a little bit or increase it a little bit, and I like the way it just feels. I like the weight. It feels like quality. I'm happy with the way it loads. Is it better that when you press the button it closes? Look, up to you. But I'm more than happy with this system. Now Stanislavski make good thumb releases as well. I'm going to say they're a thinner release aid to hold, more rounded. Well, you can see this is quite square, but this just felt comfortable, because when I hold it, you can see that kind of sits right along those lines there along this, you know, join there in my hand. So it just felt comfortable overall. That's the B3 Amiga. If you're going to try one in the archery shop, wind out that screw there about 3/4 of a turn and you'll probably like it. So, but if you're gonna, you know, if you get a chance to try out other release aids, test them out, see what you think of them. The Scott Sigma decreases here in size, but overall I thought this is just really comfortable, and the price point I thought was pretty good. So it's not super cheap, it's not super expensive, it's kind of in the middle, which is where you'd expect to pay. It's kind of the Carter release aid pricing, but this feels really, really nice. The Amiga from B3. Check it out at your local archery shop.